Thanks for sharing how you're feeling today. Does anyone want to read? Well, I'll just read this one. We have a lot more reading to do since we don't have as many participants as I had hoped for. So, insights on self-care. Self-care is any healthy action we take to feel better. Sometimes we use self-care to respond to stressors, triggering events, or when we feel like we are in crisis. Self-care that might work normally may not work as well under very difficult conditions. Tip for dealing with stressors. One suggestion for how to deal with especially difficult situations is to put more time and effort into the things we usually do to make us feel better. Really good self-care is often planned. Planning self-care before we feel unwell has benefits, such as having something to look forward to or helping us not forget self-care. Because of this, it is often included in recovery planning. Does anyone have any questions on that?
No questions, but I highly agree with it.
Yeah.
Good. All right. So I'll move to the next slide. Would anyone like to read this? Examples of self-care?
I can read if you want.
Thank you.
Examples of self-care, remembering our boundaries and what we will or will not do, being of service to others, writing a gratitude list, spending time with family and friends, getting enough sleep, taking breaks, stressors, burnout, vicarious trauma, poor time management, and compassion. Hold on. You advanced the slide by accident.
Oh, it does that. I don't know why I haven't fixed that yet. Sorry.
That's all right. Poor time management and compassion fatigue are common reasons we provide self care for ourselves.
Awesome. Does anyone have any questions on that? Do you think these are good ideas on what we can do for self-care?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the best things to consider is, that everybody's different and people have different things that make them feel good. And so it's really learning yourself and learning what makes you feel good and what makes you feel distressed.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And it's good to remember our boundaries too. When people push us, we don't mind our boundaries. We get into some bad situations. All right, so this is our first passage. I can go ahead and read this. This is for self-care, obviously. So doing something nice for yourself. For those of us who live with mental health struggles, our lives can often feel overwhelmed by adversity. When we are going through our recovery process, we can be so focused on taking care of all the aspects of our lives that we want or need to improve that we often skip enjoying simple pleasures such as sitting in the sun reading a good book, going to the movies, going on a picnic, or playing with a puppy. For all the hard work we do to nurture our recovery process, we also deserve to laugh and smile because it is so good for our mind, body, and soul. As individuals with mental health struggles, our lives are often very complicated. We are worthy of doing nice things for ourselves, especially while dealing with lives complicated by triggers and frustrations. If we can take some time to do something nice for ourselves, the result is that better days are on the way and better days are here to stay. Awesome. So, this is our first chance to answer one of the questions. How does this passage relate to? Would someone read the directions for this assignment?
I can read them.
Thank you.
The assignment, how does this passage relate to, must include 5 keywords from the passage itself, which cannot be used or counted more than once. In addition, the recovery concept or fundamental must be mentioned at least twice in the assignment. Words that do not convey a concept like we, the, or a will not be counted. variations of words that are used in the passages are accepted, such as changing simple to simplest. You must underline the keywords that you use.
All right. So I think that's pretty clear. Did anybody struggle with following these directions?
No.
No.
No? Okay, good. And Jessica, are you with us yet by any chance? Jessica, can you hear us?
Yes, I'm here.
Awesome. So you're with us. That's great.
Yeah, I'm driving home from a graduation, so
Okay, okay. Well, I'm glad you
Congratulations.
chose safety.
yeah, so but I'll be home soon.
Good,
You want
good.
me to read anything right now, or?
Um, maybe, do you think you're still driving?
Well, I'm pulled over right now, so or I'm stopped right now, so.
Well, let's give it 1 second. If you're still good to read on the next slide, we'll try to have you read that while if you're
Okay,
still pulled over. But I'll read this
okay,
real quick. So here's an example of, how we do this assignment. So if you remember the last passage we read about doing nice things for ourselves, this is an example of how it relates to self-care. The passage reminds us that while we are focused on our most essential goals and challenges first, i.e., the things we want or need, we may overlook simple pleasures that can give us joy with little effort. Actively participating in things that bring us joy is an example of self care. The simplest of actions and pleasures is often the most accessible option because we often are playing catch up rather than being ahead of the curve, and because we are weighed down by stressors, triggers, and things that make life complicated, sometimes we believe we aren't worthy of or don't deserve nice things in our lives. But it is because of these challenges that we must find simple methods of self care by doing nice things for ourselves. So as you can see, there's different keywords that were underlined. We also underlined and showed how many times we use the word self-care, which is the concept we were discussing. Wait. Oh yeah, I didn't answer this because I have all my answers on this PowerPoint slides, but because I wrote the example myself, I didn't do this one. So just answer for how this particular passage related to self-care.
I got an answer if you want me to go.
Sure, you can go ahead.
Okay, so I have this passage reminds us that part of caring for our mental health is choosing to reparent ourselves through nurturing activities. When we were children, life may have been complicated, but children still have the innate ability to enjoy a laugh or a smile without immediately placing judgment or a story about those expressions in our minds. Choosing better days will help reinforce a positive routine in life. Do you want me to tell you which words I have underlined?
No, I think I was able to hear them in there, so that's great. Yeah, I like the word reparent ourselves. That's awesome.
Cool.
Cool. So, all right. So, I will go ahead and read the first answer to the question. This question is, what are three simple pleasures that make you happy? I said a good date with my girlfriend, taking a walk, thinking about the positive experiences I've had in recovery. Does anyone else want to give an answer to that? You don't have to.
Mine are similar. I have spending time with my kids, husband and dog, and walks in nature and cooking with my family.
Awesome. Awesome. Walks in nature, kids, family. Good. Does Andre, did you answer this? Maybe you want to just do it off the top of your head. Why is it important to be gentle to yourself?
So, well, Jessica has her hand raised. Maybe she could talk while she
Oh,
stops.
sure,
I
Jessica, you
can
can go
answer.
ahead if you want to answer that.
Um, I put was important because we have to take care of ourselves and especially our mental health. because if not, it's easy to conform to society and the chaos of the worldly adventures, or, we'll end up going backwards if we don't take care of ourselves.
Awesome. Awesome. It is important. Okay, hey Chris, I see that you joined us. That's awesome. We've just got started a little bit ago, so you might want to participate in some of the readings or answering some of the questions. You can jump in anytime. Oh, now I can see the participants on the side. That's great. That's good. Just have to move it around so I can see the rest of my screen. And maybe, are you guys seeing the participant thing on the screen too, or is that invisible for you?
No,
I see. Question too.
Okay, so you don't see all the participants on the screen?
Oh yeah. Yeah. You mean like on the side screen, the video of them?
Not like your video of them, but like my overlay of you guys. Like, do you see that in the middle of the screen now?
Negative.
Oh, good. I'm glad that that doesn't clutter up your screen. Good. Okay, so we already answered this one. All right. So, Chris, do you have your book pulled up? Maybe you can participate right away.
Yeah, I mean, if you just bring out question one, two, and three, I'm gonna.
Well, just question three is the one we're on now.
I mean, I can
How
answer them
will
all.
our lives improve by spending time enjoying simple pleasures?
Well, obviously, so they're gonna be improved by simple pleasures by being knowing when to. Our brain has almost a full second to make a decision. So if we're mindful enough, we know, you know, we have a choice, and if we dumb it down, it's pretty much, this choice takes me towards what I want and brings up everything and all these feelings in life that I want. I make a choice that takes me away from that, and then all of a sudden all the things that I didn't ask for pop up, my anxiety, you know substance use, this, that, and the other thing. It improves your life tremendously, and it gives you, it allows you to enjoy those simple pleasures because you're stopping and going, okay, well, you're making a mindful decision, and at the end of the journey, or the end of, whatever, you realize that, that decision was a decision that was a good decision, and, you know, it took you to where you wanted to be.
Awesome. Awesome. So when we're experiencing difficult thoughts and we do something simple to enjoy ourselves and get us out of that thought. Excellent. Okay, so I don't know if everybody was able to get this done, but we want to provide a list of wellness activities that we use. If you have 5 wellness activities, you can share those now. Jessica raised her hand. Go ahead, Jessica.
I put, I believe, gratitude, uh, like making a gratitude list, like journaling, meditating, like going for a walk around the neighborhood, and like just like cleaning or listening to a podcast.
Good. And just one suggestion is that if anybody hears anything they like, that another person put down, you can write that down and add that to your list. Does anyone else want to share a list of wellness activities?
I could give you a couple.
Great.
Some of mine are yoga, going to spin class, and going to the beach.
Good. Good. I didn't know you did yoga. That's awesome. Also, guys, I will email you a list of these wellness activities that everybody said. I'll compile them all together and send you a list. So does anyone else want to share some wellness activities? Chris, great. Thank you.
So I'm gonna go with definitely a mindfulness walk. Um, for sure, like definitely mindfulness walk. Art. Um, there was another one. Find a support group.
Good.
Get get linked in with individuals in your area. If you're not comfortable with that because it's your area and it's something that you want to keep, you know, to yourself, and you have that right for, you know, keep your anonymity, and so having social outlets like in the rooms, you know, like okay, you know, I live in PA and I don't want to put it out there for everyone, you know, to see and know this, that, and the other thing. So let's go to in the rooms, and there's every single thing you could think of there. Um, so yeah,
Awesome.
that's another one. I mean, yoga is another one. I think. I mean, I could go on for days with this one.
Yeah, we only needed 5. That's awesome, Chris. Awesome. So
Alrighty.
Tammy, you have your hand raised. You can go ahead.
Yeah, so the main one, I mean, I think everything that everyone else is saying is absolutely like I've got walks, I like to listen and watch motivational speeches and podcasts, but the other thing that I would say that's super primary for me is I take 3 international supplements because basically what they do is they give me the right like building blocks to rebuild my neuro like chemicals and biology. So I think those are super important for me because they help me not repeat patterns and they also like help me build new patterns. So I really like them.
What are these supplements, Tammy? Are they vitamins or some kind of
The,
wellness principle?
they're vitamins and basically they have micronized and hydrolyzed ingredients. So the micronized is they're made really, really, really small so they can absorb into your cells. And the hydrolyzed is just like I think it's something around the same kind of thing, but I think they're pretty cool.
Really cool. All right, so everybody has shared that. Wonderful. Let's move on. All right, recovery planning. So I'll go ahead and read this. Recovery planning is self-determined, but often includes friends and family, supporters, or community leaders. Recovery planning is done with the collaboration of individuals involved and utilizes recovery capital. A recovery plan is based on self-determination. It identifies strengths of the individual and takes inventory of recovery capital. Identifies goals, challenges, action steps, and date of completion. May involve support from others in connection to the community resources and leadership. Need to be evaluated and measured for progress. Criteria for evaluation should come from the person creating the plan and should be considered before action if possible. So these are our basic components of a recovery plan. In a second, we're going to show you an example of a goal that has been planned out using these principles. Does anyone have any questions on recovery planning? or maybe we can wait until the next slide. You'll see the example, then we can have questions. All right, I'll go on to the next slide. So here's an example of the recovery plans. We can see up here it has the goal, we have strengths and recovery capital, we have the challenges and obstacles, we have action steps, and we have a date of completion. So this goal is to get a master's degree. The strengths and recovery capital are that the person already has a bachelor's degree. Time, the person is on disability and is self-employed. Experienced with online courses. So those are all strengths and some recovery capital. The challenges the person has is that the classes are condensed, so more is required in a shorter time. Action steps, clear agenda for the first week. Start each day with school first. Complete all assignments before recreation. And this person is planning to graduate in August of 2025. Does everybody see how we want to specifically identify the goals, strengths, recovery, capital, challenges, action steps, and date of completion? Sometimes action steps are called instrumental goals. And I was supposed to remind you all to actually create a goal for your recovery plan. We can go ahead and take a 10-minute break where you'll turn to the recovery plan section in the back of your book and you'll create just one goal and try to quickly identify your strengths, challenges, action steps, and a date of completion. You can make this a pretty simple goal. Doesn't have to be very elaborate, get done in 10 minutes. So please enjoy your break, do the exercise, and maybe get a cup of coffee or use the bathroom while you have time. Did you guys have a good time in your breakout room? Did you get to share your goals?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I felt very inspired by Tammy.
Yeah, Tammy's a great person. I've known her for just about a year now, I think, Tammy.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. The feeling's mutual too. I feel like, I'm not the only person that's working on this stuff. So we can work on this stuff together.
Yeah. Right. Looks like everyone is back. How about you, Chris and Jessica? Did you get to both share your goals?
I mean, we pretty much was saying like whatever situation, like with our challenges, we do. It pushes us harder to work towards our goals. So, like if, like with my like anything like a recovery plan, that's gonna if I have to appeal the process, that's one step further that I got to go, and not to give up, to just keep on making new goals. So if I can't do it here, let's try this other goal and just keep on setting the bar high until you can't go anymore.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good. Good. All right. So we've now shared our recovery goals. We now have another passage here. I'll read this passage. Recovery planning. Struggling is part of recovery. Therefore, we all experience tough times. If we learn better ways to manage those tough days in which we are triggered or having difficulties, We will be happier and healthier in the long run. If we learn better ways to nurture our recovery process, we can do better and feel better. We can have more control over how we feel when things are tough. If we want things to be better, we must make healthy choices to work toward our better day. I know all of this to be true based on my own personal experiences. The reality is that if we want to feel better, then we need to work at it. When we are struggling, we can work towards making things better. We can choose to help ourselves move through our recovery process. We will succeed. Awesome. Awesome. So, very inspirational. Here's another example of how this passage related to recovery planning. We're actually going to just skip over this. I think you all have an understanding of how to do this. So, does anyone want to answer how that passage connected with recovery planning? Hopefully, some of you have done this in your homework assignment. Andre, great. Go ahead.
All right, so I actually didn't write this down as a homework assignment, so this is kind of off the top of my head. But I mean, I think that the main goal of this is that, recovery, you need to work on your recovery. It's not just going to happen for you. You need to take an active stance in making sure that you're well. And, it could be with your physical, your mental, all of that is interrelated. And I think that when you do that, your better days are ahead. And, the idea of happiness and healthiness is really hand in hand, because there's so many times where you're not feeling good physically and then you're miserable. I mean, like that there, it's always sort of like, even in TV shows you see that all the time, like somebody miserable on the couch sick. And it's an extreme example, but I think that it's something that you can take away from that you really can work on your physical and mental health, and you'll see a change to better days, and feeling better about yourself.
Awesome. Very good. Very good. So, does anyone want to answer this question? The first question related to this passage: name and explain one method that you currently use to get back on track during tough times. Someone other than Andre, he just participated.
I'll answer.
Okay, Chris, go ahead.
Um, uh, I'm a very mindful person, so um, I believe they call it a disease, and if you split that word up, it's dis-ease. And when you feel that uncomfort and that dis-ease coming in, we know it's time to drop the anchor, and weather the storm. When the storm passes, will we be facing the same direction? Maybe not. But with the anchor being dropped, we're still in that radius of where we were. We're not far away because we were mindful enough to drop the anchor. And, you know, knowing that and knowing, that feeling of that dis-ease creeping in, is huge. And dropping that anchor, I mean, it's beneficial. It is, because, I mean, think about it. You're out fishing and it starts raining and having a big storm, and you drop the anchor, but when the anchor hits bottom, there's only 5 foot left, right? Or let's say 20 foot. So it can spin you around 20 feet, right? So your boat's not going to be facing the same direction, but you're still on course.
Right. Very good. Yeah, I think I hear you saying dropping an anchor can help you stay steady during tough times. Tammy, did you have a question? We don't need anyone to answer this question again If you had a question, though, you can go for it.
Oh, I just wanted to add that I think that is such a good point that Chris made. And for myself, the first thing that I do if I notice the dis-ease, which I love how you put that, Chris, the first thing I do is I look at my nervous system and how I can regulate my nervous system because I feel like if I do that, then that gets me back on track and like able to think rationally. So it sounds silly, but for me, I splash cold water on my face. And that resets my nervous system so I can kind of re-clarify where I'm at emotionally.
Awesome. Yeah, that was definitely very value added. Thank you. So, next one. Does anyone different other than Tammy or Chris want to answer this one? Give an example of one way that you would like to learn how to help yourself feel better. I can answer, I'll actually go ahead and answer this one. So, one way I would like to learn to help myself feel better is that I would like to learn more about mindfulness and relaxation, to learn to focus on what is important in the present moment, to move me forward, and to reduce negative feelings or stress. Awesome. All right, now we'll take a different person.
Can
What
I
does the
chime in on
topic
that last
mean to
one?
you? Huh?
Can I chime in on that last one?
Well, I think we might run out a little bit of time because I didn't have you guys prep for the recovery planning portion. So I think that took a little bit more time. If we can just, you could answer this one if you want to, though.
What does recovery mean to you? Um, I mean, that recovery is a road that has many different pathways. I put recovery is a deeply personal and individual journey. It is a process of transformation and growth where individuals strive to improve their overall well-being. It is important to understand that there is no one-size-fits-all definition of recovery. Each person's experience and path to recovery will be unique to them. For many, recovery signifies the overcoming of an illness or disorder where they attain a state of good mental, emotional, and physical health.
Hmm, very insightful. Awesome. So we will move on. Here is mentoring. So does anyone want to read this?
I can.
Sure, go ahead, Andre.
All right. Mentoring provides an opportunity to be there for a person in a way that supports them in both the best of times and the worst. A good mentor will respect each person's unique approach to recovery. A mentor utilizes self disclosure in a way that does not compete, but rather informs an individual of shared experiences. A mentor should be primarily focused on the person they are mentoring, only sharing about themselves what it would benefit to the mentee. Mentoring is constant and ongoing and occurs in situations where we present the best or worst aspects of ourselves. We never know just what kind of impact we will have on others.
Awesome. So does anyone have anything to say about that or have any questions? Think that's all pretty accurate?
I have comments.
Go ahead, Tammy.
I think that this part is like one of the parts of the teaching that I think is really, really cool because I don't think that normally people would say, oh, well, you're a mentor. And I feel like at the very beginning of this class, you were like, well, who thinks that you're a mentor if you're in recovery? And I feel like it really depends on where you're at and what you want to, how you want to define it. But I feel like it really links people together and kind of like puts you in a position of like belonging and like understanding that we're here to like kind of help others like all the time. Like it kind of puts you in a mindset that I don't know that it's always encouraged. Like a lot of times people are like, oh, well, you have to have boundaries first and like, you know, you have to be careful. But I think if you think about your recovery in terms of like, I'm here to do this for myself, but I'm also doing this for the people around me, it's a lot more motivating, I feel like, to look at it that way. And I just think it's pretty cool.
Yeah. You know, and a lot of times people also say that you need to reach some specific point in your life before you can be a mentor. But pretty much, you know, when we're in recovery, yeah, like you said, you know, we're always a mentor.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
I mean, I believe that when it comes to boundaries, like, unfortunately, boundaries is the number one priority in our field because, I mean, it's huge. Like the last place I worked with, they did not like that I refused to drive a female client over to the hospital by myself without another female colleague in the vehicle with me. I would not transport any female client, whether it even be walking over, unless I had a female colleague with me. I worked really hard for my titles, and unfortunately, you know, anything can be said.
I mean, I agree with you 100%. I understand. And I think it's good that you know boundaries too. Um, in my context, I was basically just saying that it's like having, for me, having the idea that you're a mentor at all times. It's kind of like being a big sibling, big sister, or like a parent. It's like so kind of naturally occurs to me anyway, but like I feel like pointing that out is good because not everyone thinks from that aspect of things. But I feel like you're doing that too because it's like even in setting boundaries, you're not thinking just about yourself. You're thinking about everyone else and you want to do what is right for you to make sure that you're upholding those values, which is awesome.
so
Yeah, I
here's a
wasn't.
question for you guys. Sorry, Chris, you can say what you're going to say in a second. You know, so when I say a good mentor will respect each person's unique approach to recovery, do you think that that, you know, kind of clearly includes boundaries? Like that is also supposed to like entail boundaries. Or should I really specify that? It's kind of hard to change at this point, but
I mean, I personally think it does because I mean that's huge. Think about it. I mean, and my thought is, you know, if someone crosses a boundary, um, me, I like with a client, I like to set boundaries right from the jump. You know, like
we'll move on to uh now how can I get rid of this? Can anyone read this slide for us?
I'll read it.
Can you see the whole screen to be able to read
Yeah,
that?
I have the book too, so I can
Oh,
read
right,
from
you
the
do
back.
have the book. That's wonderful. So, if what we're gonna do is we're just gonna have you read that there, and then if you guys just want to have like an open discussion for 2 or 3 minutes about what you think about that. So as soon as Tammy's done reading that, you can discuss that openly.
Okay. Identify personal issues that negatively impact one's ability to perform mentor duties and perform appropriate self-care before assisting others further. Utilize consultation regarding dual relationships. Utilize de-escalation techniques and educate individuals on suicide prevention concepts. Partner with the individual to access recovery-oriented services and supports. Support the individual to identify options and participate in decisions connected to creating and completing recovery goals. Promote a wellness focused approach to recovery. Utilize supervision and consultation regarding harm to self and others. Respond appropriately to personal stressors, triggers, and indicators. Utilize trauma informed care approaches. Assess the mentee's satisfaction with his or her progress toward recovery goals.
Awesome. Does anyone think any of these are especially important? Want to chat about these for a couple minutes amongst yourselves?
I think one of the major things that kind of always comes up in recovery is like the idea of making sure that you're well and before you take care of someone else. And so like that first one sort of resonates with me. It's almost like the when you're in the airplane and they say, you know, put your mask down before you try to help others. It's really making sure that someone that you're well enough because if you're not, then you're not going to be able to support someone else.
Awesome. Yeah, you definitely have to put recovery first.
Yeah, I was gonna say for that one, I look at that, and to me, that's a different way of wording saying like make sure your personal boundaries are good before you go and do help others, which I feel like it's like you asked the question, you're like, well, is the boundary? It's definitely, it's right there, right at the top there. To me, it's like that's like knowing yourself, knowing your personal boundaries before you go further. And I think for me in this list, the one that I really like is utilize trauma informed care approaches because I feel like I've done a lot of like, I've been in the hospital, I've done a lot of, mental health stuff. And the most recent groups that I attended were trauma informed. And I feel like there's a lot of like not specific talk about like things that might trigger you. And there's a lot of like, I can tell that you're emotionally activated right now. How can I help you deactivate your nervous system so that you can be calm? And I think that especially with people that get triggered, like knowing when you get triggered and knowing how to regulate your nervous system is like right up there with the personal boundaries. Cause it's like, I know for me, it's like depending on the person and like what kind of thing they're going through, I can almost get caught up in their dysregulation if I'm not really careful because I like to take care of people. So I have to make sure that my nervous system is regulated. It's just like even like with my dog, like if my dog is like wired and I don't want her to be wired, then it's like I have to project calm energy to her so that she's not like wired if I want her to calm down. And if I'm wired, she's not going to calm down. She's just going to be like play, 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 play.
Awesome. Trauma informed, definitely important. Jessica, would you like to comment on any of these? You have anything to say?
Let's see here. Whew. I mean, pretty much like you have to always take care of yourself, like number one, the first one says, because like everybody else says, if you're not in that uh, recovery mode, the good mental health, mental status, all about your recovery, how can you help other people, go further in their recovery? And also, um, just being there to listen, and give, like, just um, help them navigate the process, like how far are they in the recovery? Like, are they, if they need treatment or if they need extra meetings or if they need a sober living facility, just help them with that information because especially the way everything is technologically savvy today, a lot of people don't know how to use that, and they get frustrated with that process. So just being there to offer the help, your guidance, your ear, just being there to just your support in general, because that's what we're here for, and yeah, like I guess that's kind of incorporating everything, and just try to help help them also navigate. Said, what are their triggers? How can we avoid those? As or come up with healthy boundaries, you know. And let's see here. And give a lot of supervision. And just, you know, just come up with ways to do, you know, do it because where I volunteer at, well, we also do harm reduction, you know, we promote that. But it's like, if not, you know, just give them the tools because we can't change everybody. We can't change nobody but ourselves, you know, and everybody has to want that change. So if not, just being there to help them do it the correct way, but also talk about it in the process of what's the end goal and set up your goals and everything like that for them.
Awesome. Yeah, I think, you know, like harm reduction, that's definitely something you mentioned that is very needed these days. So, this next one. Would anyone like to read this? Chris, do you want to read this by any chance? And then get
Yeah,
some
I'll read it.
participation.
Yeah, I got you.
Thank you.
Participate as a member of the individual's treatment team. Guarantee that recovery is based on the individual's strengths and resiliences. Support the individual in defining spirituality on their own terms. Assist others to develop problem-solving skills. Assure that relationships, services, and supports reflect individual differences and cultural diversity. Support the individual's use of self-determination. Model acceptance and cultural humility. Partner with individuals to assist them in identifying their strengths, challenges to recovery, and recovery capital. Apply motivational interviewing to assist individuals during stages of change. And inform individuals of their options related to decisions that affect their recovery.
Wonderful. Thank you, Chris. So, you know, these are all components of being a successful mentor. So if you guys were seeing someone who was trying to support you through a difficult situation or towards making some new growth, which of these on this page do you think would be really important, like that you would want personally? Okay, Andre, sure, go ahead.
I know that this isn't really the answer to the question, but I think that there's a little bit of a theme on this slide, and I noticed the idea of self-directed care, which I think is really important, meaning that the participants in the driver's seat. So I would be in the driver's seat. And I think that that's really important. So, like, you know, support the individual in defining on their terms, their spirituality, helping them find what where they are in their stages of change, their options. I really like that idea of like being able to lead my own recovery.
Awesome. No, that was actually a really good answer to the question, Andre. But go ahead, Chris.
So when I think of this, I see the word assist a lot, right? But to me, we're walking alongside of them throughout this process. We're kind of like a cane, you know, for them to lean on when they want it. You know, it's can't be forced, you know, but that's our job from the beginning to let them know, hey, look, whatever resource, whatever you need, you ask, and you'll get. I will find a way to get it for you. That's my job. But just to me, it's authenticity.
Want to participate?
I mean, it kind of ties into Chris's story a little bit. I was just
Good.
kind of looking at all of the things that, that are here. And I think that the things I underlined were cultural diversity and cultural humility, which I think that's actually kind of what Chris was describing in his story, if I'm if I'm correct. And the other thing that stuck out to me that I think relates to that is defining spirituality, supporting the individual defining that on their own terms, because I feel like a lot of the programs out there kind of have like a religious or spiritual undertone to it that's linked to whatever organization is funding the operation, but it does not leave space for people that have different cultural beliefs. And I think that can make it a lot more difficult to relate to people. And I feel like that's basically, Chris, like kind of what you've been describing in your stories as how hard you work to be relatable to people so that they can understand that you're genuine and authentic and you really just want to be there for them to listen and help them, which I think is really awesome.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, everything Chris did say, really tied into a lot of these principles for mentorship. That's awesome. And we couldn't have got that experience from someone who wasn't as experienced as Chris. So, moving on, we have something quick here. It's just a quote from Mahatma Gandhi. We referenced this a couple of times in the book. And in day one, we talked about this. So, remember the words of Mahatma Gandhi: be the change you want to see in the world. One way to affect change is through mentoring. So, we have a passage coming up that actually talks about this a little bit specifically. So this one is sometimes we struggle. I'll read this. Unless, Jessica, I don't think you've actually read any of the passages yet. Would you like to read this passage, Jessica?
Yes.
Great.
Okay. These are the days when I feel so bad that I've become unable to see things for how they really are. Often my thoughts are twisting and turning throughout a maze of total and brutal negativity. I find myself gasping for air and grasping for a hand to hold on to, yet sometimes it seems I'm very alone. I ask myself, is this a struggle for wellness and recovery worthy of all my efforts? Why am I dedicating all my hard work and time and effort to my recovery? What is this recovery that I'm finding so hard for? It's important for us to think of the big picture. We can work hard to improve our quality of life and strengthen our coping skills, and we will experience beneficial results. When we struggle, experience difficulties and question our recovery, we can and will take back our lives and celebrate our progress and accept that sometimes we all struggle. Our struggle has meaning and our recovery is here to stay.
Awesome. So, I do just want to point out that sometimes the mentorship passages can be pretty hard to relate to mentorship. But if you kind of really think about them, you'll find a way that they relate to mentorship. So the next thing to do is answer, how does this passage connect with mentoring? Did anyone do this one? Would anyone like to share how they said passage connects? Andre, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think there were so many standout things of feeling alone, struggling. I think it said gasping for air, grasping for another hand. Like those are like humongous things that people feel really isolated, and having someone there to like walk beside you and be a mentor, like really could like negatively or I guess positively affect the way that they're feeling in that moment. And so, being able to be there for someone when they're not in a good place is just really important in a way of giving back. And so I saw this as both like from being a mentor and feeling this way, and then being a mentee and feeling this way, is that you're not alone. And no matter how much you kind of give, there's always going to be a little bit left to give, and then sometimes there's times where you just don't have anything in you, and you also need to then set that boundary and say like, not today, right now, or work on your wellness, do other things, self care. Um, that's kind of how I was thinking about it.
Very good. You actually made that very simple and straightforward. Awesome. So, next, does anyone want to answer this question? Do you believe there is meaning and value in your struggle and why?
I can answer that too if you want. I'm sorry
Yeah,
if I'm.
sure. You can go ahead, Andre, if you want to answer that.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of times where, I'm not in a good place and I'm thinking I'm like really anxious or I'm really depressed. And I take a look at my journey and say, okay, I overcame this before, I can overcome it again. And so it's that value of seeing that you can get past it, um, that makes you feel like you can get past it again.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. If you learn any lessons from your struggle, it makes recovery worthwhile. Awesome.
And
Thank you,
that's the
Andre.
other thing is realizing how good it feels when you are in that better place.
Yeah, definitely. So, I'll read this one and I'll answer it. In your daily life, how do you manage the ups and downs that you face without being thrown off course? I said, I stick to a solid recovery plan and am mindful of my values and purpose. Awesome. So, anyone else can answer this one. The question is, what are 3 reasons you are fighting for your recovery? Chris,
To
you
be a
want to answer this one?
yeah, I'll do it.
Cool. Three
So
reasons.
3 reasons. Well, one is to be a better version of myself every day while using the tools I've obtained to better serve and help others. Um, my second one is to be the person that my animal thinks I am. And um, the third one is I want to be the a William White of my generation.
Awesome. Awesome. And I really like that be the person your animal thinks you are. I mean, if
Let
I
me
could just be the
sober.
person my cat thinks I am.
Hey man, you know what? That little silly meme came across my phone when I was in my active addiction, and my dog means the world to me, and he was laying right there, and it just said, be the person your dog thinks you are, and I'm looking at him like, man, like this dude thinks I'm the world, and really,
Definitely.
like I'm falling apart, and
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
would that's sounds silly, but yeah, that was my. I mean, I even found a little notebook that has that on saying on the.
Wow. Yeah, it's not silly at all, Chris. Jessica, I see you have your hand raised. Did you want to answer this or did you have something else to add?
Um, why? What are 3 reasons fighting for recovery?
Yeah.
Um, number one, my kids. Um, you know, um, without them, I wouldn't be where I am today. And actually using my testimony, my information, my knowledge to help other people and continue to fight and inspire others. Myself, because I feel like now, I'm more of a better mom. Not really like I was really horrible, but you know, um, but it's like I'm able to be a much loving and understanding mother. Like my patience is a lot easier, a lot calmer. Like I have patience, and to help others, pour into others what was poured into me. Whether I'm very resourceful with networking and everything and getting things done, so I'm able to pass it along to other people to help them as well. So
Awesome. Very good. Yeah, I think, pretty much everybody said something about either others or their animals or, something like that. Other people are important in recovery. So, I'll read this one. This one's creating change. Is another passage related to mentoring. So, people say that change comes from within. This saying applies to most people, including people living with mental health struggles. What does it mean to change from within? When I have something about myself or my life that I want to improve, I must work hard to implement changes in how I do things. I achieve this by focusing my thoughts on my goals and by taking healthy actions for change. Mahatma Gandhi, the great Indian spiritual leader, said, "Be the change you want to see in the world." I say that first I must change myself into the person I want to be. The ability to choose to change ourselves for the better is something that no one can take away from us. We can and will live better lives, beginning with having a better day starting today. Awesome. Awesome. So, Tammy, do you have an answer for this by any chance? How does this passage connect to mentoring? Or you can answer it off the top of your head, or someone else could go if you want.
I can answer it. I think the most important thing, like my hubby likes to say, don't talk about it, be about it. So like this whole section where it says be the change you want to see in the world, you must change yourself to like set an example. So to me, I think especially as like a parent or like like everybody's talking about like why the people in your life kind of count on you to set an example of like what needs to happen. So I mean, I would say that is how I would connect it. Like you change yourself, you take responsibility for yourself, and that actually, it communicates in actions to the people that you're mentoring. And I think it's a lot more long standing than just talking about it too.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, that's very good. Very, very good. Okay, so
Don't let
here's
your
some.
struggle become your identity.
What was that, Chris?
Yeah.
Don't let your struggle become your identity.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. Awesome. So, what are the top three things that you want to change about yourself? I'll list mine and then someone else can answer it as well. Top three things I want to change about myself. I want to become smarter. I want to become more cosmopolitan or worldly, treat people with more respect and unconditional high regard. Does anyone else want to answer? You don't have to. We can move on if you don't want to answer.
I'll answer. I don't care.
Who was that, Chris?
I don't. Yeah.
Sure, go ahead.
Three ways. I want to. I'm not trying to piggyback off you here, but yeah, becoming not. I wouldn't say smarter, but continuing to be as knowledgeable and staying up to date with all the current trends and trainings going on that's changing with substance use and mental health. That is, big for me. Um, I want to become no, I'd take that back. I'm going to become a trainer this year because I'm ready for a change. It's hurting to be someone in recovery and then work in the field and see a lot of the things that go on in the background that just isn't right. So if I'm at least doing trainings, I can train the correct information. What those individuals do with it from there is up to them. And I want to continue being authentic and pass on and as much knowledge as I can and give back as much as I am able to without emptying emptying myself and not having anyone there or anything to continue to fill my cup if I'm emptying myself out.
Awesome. Yeah, given what you got, very
I
good.
mean, I would say the biggest thing for me is to prove a lot of people wrong and be that person that's training them in a training.
Yeah, and beat the statistics, A
Yes, I mean,
lot of
if
us,
I
they said we'd be dead already, but we're not.
when anytime I interview and they say, we're going to go with a different candidate, my answer is, okay, that's your loss.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, does anyone want to answer this? What good things have you gained from your struggle with mental well-being? Andre or Jessica would be good for this.
I can say it's taught me that I'm a lot stronger than I ever thought I was, and that I can overcome.
Awesome. That's great. Jessica, we can save your participation for the next one if you want, unless you had something that you really wanted to add. Um,
That's fine.
okay, so here's the next one. What is the number one thing that you can do today to improve your life for the better? And Jessica, that would be you if you wanted to go.
Okay. Pretty much be honest with myself and my recovery. It has to start with us, within ourselves first. If we want to go hide about it, be shamed about it, you know, you're not gonna make the best of your recovery. Um, and yeah, just be pretty much honest with myself, and I guess that gives me the drive, and to um, jump through hurdles or jump through obstacles or do accomplishments. That's the biggest thing, especially where I'm at the Metro Drug Coalition. Like the girl that's my supervisor, like I'm like I picked her. I guess it's kind of by choice. We have the same name, but I also looked at her because of all her like achievements, her awards, her certificates. I'm like, wow, I want like I can do that. So just going out there, giving it all you got, and just connecting and networking with people, and but being honest with yourself.
That's great. That's great. And honesty, as we've talked about before, is the first of the 9 fundamentals of recovery. And shame can really play an impact on how we can be honest with ourselves and with others. So, does anyone want to read this passage, being in the moment?
I can.
I can do it.
We'll let Andre do it. I think he's
Go ahead,
read
Andre.
the passages.
It's all you, Andre.
Okay. Better Days, a mental health recovery workbook. In the past, my recovery experience has taught me so much. My inner pain is erupting like a volcano and damaging all in my path. This cycle plagues me time and time again and derails my recovery. No more will I allow myself to give in to the pain and extreme negativity that I feel at times. Never again will I allow myself to suffer without also trying to fight my way out of my pain. Excuse me. I can and I will learn better ways to manage my life when I'm struggling. We will allow our recovery to heal us and will grow and live a better quality of life. We will struggle. We decide in the moment if we want to make things better. If we want better days, we must work hard to have them.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that passage was really inspirational, and being in a moment has a lot to do with being a good mentor. So what I want to do right now is, just in case anybody feels that they need to stretch or get up or get a cup of coffee or anything, and take 5 minutes to do that. And the next thing we'll answer is how this passage relates to mentoring. How's it going, Tammy? How you doing?
Going all right.
Is the group too long or is it going pretty smoothly?
I feel like it goes pretty smoothly. I think we have some good discussion too.
Yeah, me
Can't
too.
wait to get I can't wait to get more people in this group. I think this is good. And I'm like taking lots of notes in my book because this is gonna be this is gonna be awesome.
Do you think you might be interested in, like, trying to become a facilitator, and then maybe you could get jobs going to recovery facilities and doing, some of these groups there?
I actually am really interested. Like I've got a whole bunch of stuff. Like I've got all these resources, but I've kind of been struggling with like a structure to put them in. And I feel like what what your plan is like totally links up with what I want to do because I feel like I'm really good at listening to people and like I feel like people get inspired by the things that I like to share. So I do really well in groups. And
Yeah,
I really like talking to people and like hearing like what their ideas are because that's really kind of what gets me inspired. So this has been really good. I've really enjoyed it.
You
awesome.
would be an amazing, amazing facilitator.
Yeah, and you are
Well,
very
thanks.
inspirational. So I'll go ahead and I'll just read what I have here for how this passage connects to mentoring. Remember, it was being in the moment, I believe. Right? Yeah, being in the moment. And what I said was, even when we have been in recovery for a while and begin supporting others, cycles of emotions that we have been used to for so long can repeat themselves and derail our ability to be a mentor. Often, before recovery, I would allow myself to feel my inner pain. Since beginning recovery, I have learned the importance of quickly moving on from painful experiences. This is a better way to manage my life. This allows me to be in the best position to be a mentor. Awesome. Did anyone actually complete the assignment by highlighting the specific words to use? You can share that, or if you don't want to, that's fine. We can move on, but if you have a dire urge to share,
I just have a comment if that's okay.
sure, you
What
can go
page
ahead
is
and
that
comment,
pass?
Tim.
Sorry, do you have something to say, Andre?
What page is that passage on?
Oh,
Um, I'm not 100% sure. I think it's about page 63.
Thank you.
I w
Should be right around there. Tammy, go ahead.
Oh, I just think that the second part that you have here, like, I mean, it's just really, really good because I feel like I've recognized this in myself too. It's like particularly depending on like what diagnosis or, what label you have, everyone goes through cycles of emotions. And I think that the importance of feeling your inner pain and not getting stuck in it is such a huge, huge factor in it, like big time. And so I think it's awesome what you wrote here.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, it is important to quickly try to move on and not get stuck in it, but to go ahead and just feel what you're feeling, acknowledge it, and then try to let it go. So, question one, what does being in the moment mean to you? Does anyone want to answer this?
I'll answer it.
All right.
So for me, being in the moment, it has everything to do with presence. And one of the things that I like to do, like I said, I like to do the dive effect. So to me, it's like the biggest thing is like being in my body at the moment. So it's like I do the dive effect, I splash the cold water on my face. And one of the things that I learned in the group I was in is like the five senses. So you go through the list of all of your senses and identify something in your environment that you currently have that you can smell, that you can taste, that you can touch, that you can hear, and that you can feel. And I feel like doing that real quick really puts me in my body. So if I have any kind of like intrusive thoughts or things going on in my brain, it takes me away from that and it puts me in a real experience. And I also like to stand barefoot in the grass. I think that super duper helps me. I'm a nature person, so and there's actually science to back that up that like when you actually stand on the ground with bare feet, the polarity of it actually helps your nervous system calm down.
Yeah, that's they call that grounding. Yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
really good. Yeah. And it just kind of anchors you, like, Chris was saying too, anchors you to
Yeah,
the moment.
100%.
All right, so next question. What are three things that you can do when you are struggling so you can start to feel better? Someone other than Tammy this time? You're great, Tammy. Anybody want to answer this? I can give my answer if no one really wants to answer this one. Um, but three things that you can do when you are struggling to start to feel better. Okay, I'll go ahead. I chose call a loved one or other supporter, read a recovery story, write about what I am currently grateful for, or what my hopes are. So those are pretty important to me. And I think, writing a gratitude list and writing about what my hopes are, those are part of my self-care regimen.
I like number three a lot. That's one of mine too.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So I'll just ask everybody, if they just agree with this. This is a simple yes or no kind of question. Do you believe that it is possible to learn better ways to manage your life? Do you agree with that? We got some big cheers for that one. What about you, Chris, Jessica? Do you believe that it's possible to learn better ways to manage your life?
If you want it and you know, do the work and change your playgrounds, playmates, and playthings.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Got some silence from Jessica, but that's all right. Hopefully, she's still with us. We all know how the internet can be. So,
Yeah, I'm still here.
okay, do you agree that you can improve your life,
Let's see here.
find better ways to manage?
Yes, I do.
You do. Good. I think everybody can pretty much agree on that. But some people don't believe that it's possible to learn better ways. So, would anyone like to read this? Someone
I'll
other
go.
than Jessica, you want to read that? Great.
Yes. I've been suffering in pain for nearly 2 weeks. I keep getting better and then getting worse again. I had to force myself to go to school and be active and social and follow through with my general daily responsibilities and activities. I know I am not the only person who knows what suffering feels like. I know that there are others like me who can understand and who have empathy for me. How do we get ourselves to eat, sleep, bathe, talk, laugh, love, find peace, find happiness, and find our recovery processes when it feels lost? How do we find our better day? How do we keep moving forward in life when we feel broken or stuck?
Awesome. And I think that this one is like very clearly related to mentoring. Who wants to answer how this passage connects to mentoring? Jessica, since you read, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, I was actually about to go back.
Great.
So how does it connect with mentoring? Because um, you've been there or you're going through it, and you might meet somebody that day that gives you a good word of advice or gives you something that lifts your spirit or whatever, or just being in conversation with somebody, can also help this process along as well. Um, because we're human, you're going to have feelings, you're going to have chaos in the world, you're going to have daily struggles, you're going to have challenges. Like, we're not perfect. So you're going to face these with adversity each and every single day. So it's up to us to just, keep that network, just try to just keep active and keep positive, like go to your higher power, just maintain or, get an extra group in or something like that to help you stay focused and try to get, that love back or whatever. Just obviously you created healthy boundaries or do journaling, just get your mind going so that you're able to keep on moving forward in your recovery process, or reach out to somebody like your sponsor or somebody that you work with, just say, hey, I'm feeling down. What can I do? Like, I just need somebody to talk to. So just kind of use your outlets, your support system as well. And then being there for the mentees as well.
Perfect. Yeah, like you said, being there for the mentees, I think that, a lot of times people really rely on us for that mentorship aspect. Even if we're not like their peer supporter, they might rely on us to show up to that recovery meeting and be the best person we can be. So how do we get ourselves to eat, sleep, bathe, show up? It's all really important. And question one. I ask my loved ones and my supporters to remind me that my pain will pass when I am suffering. In what ways can people support you to help you when you are suffering? So this person asks, remind me that my pain will pass. What are some helpful ways that people can support you when you're suffering? Anyone can answer that.
Getting together, going for a walk. I mean, scientifically proven that being out in nature just helps the brain and refreshes it. So, I mean, like, meet up with someone out in the public, out in the community, and going for a walk, and just talking and communicating and showing, like, hey, listen, man, like, you just called me and told me, you're struggling, and we just made a plan to meet up. So right there, that just shows you that I'm here for you, and now we're gonna talk and do what we can do and see if we can't find a way to minimalize this, and if not, get it to go completely away. Um, if not, if it's not able to be done holistically, then there's other routes where we can look into a doctor, a psychiatrist, this, that, depending on the situation.
Yeah.
But I believe that trying to meet up with them within 24 hours of that being told, and a face-to-face meeting, is huge. That just shows that we're real. We care. Like, we care.
Yeah. Yeah, everything is better with someone else involved, with some companionship. Andre, would you like to share on this?
Yeah, I'll try to make it quick, but there was this video that I've seen, and it was actually in the CPS training, but it wasn't the first time I've seen it. And it's by Brene Brown, and it's the idea of sympathy versus empathy. Um, and there's a scene in there where, somebody's down in the dark and somebody says, well, at least you're this, or at least you're not that. And I really do think that there is a feeling of somebody actually being empathetic and even just saying, like, I'm sorry that you're going through this. How can I help you? Just makes a world of a difference. As opposed to saying, well, at least you're alive, or at least you were this, or at least you were that. And I've noticed so many times recently, because I'm having, those issues with my house, that they're like, oh, at least you have a place to stay. And it's like, no, that's not what I want to hear. Like, I want to hear, like, you feel bad that I don't have a house right now, you know? I think that that really is helpful, is just having someone support me just by being empathetic. They don't necessarily need to do anything, just say, I'm sorry you're going through what you're going through.
Yeah, very powerful, Andre. Thank you. When you're feeling overwhelmed, what are two healthy things that you can do to help yourself feel better? Anyone want to answer that? Give about 3 or 4 seconds, and I can answer it if you want.
Yeah, remember how far I came.
Okay,
Remember
that's
where
great.
I was April 10th of
Do you have one more?
2019. Um, yeah, I'm grateful to realize that I thought I was dumb, not a smart individual, because I didn't go to college, and I thoroughly enjoy sitting in groups and that have people with 4-year degrees or doctorates degrees, and I can sit there and run circles around them with answers, and um, and it was self-made. It was what I wanted to do, and I did it, and no one will ever be able to take that from me. And it's not a job. It's a life. It's like, I lived it. I am, like, I don't know why, but I just say, like, they're my peoples. There ain't no different from me, So, I mean, you're gonna see me put my best foot forward for my peoples. At the end of the day, I'm there for them. I'm not there for corporate or anything else, but I'm there for my peoples, who are my peers.
So it sounds like you're saying following your interests is a way that you can help yourself feel better. I think that's very accurate and relevant. So, what is one thing that you have done this week that you have struggled with yet succeeded at accomplishing? So, has anyone struggled with anything this week and somehow made it through and succeeded? Share a little story. How about Andre? You want to go?
Sure.
I saw you make a motion.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'll say this, overall, I haven't been in a good place mentally. And I think that there's a lot of times where I sort of like when I get overwhelmed, and I'm pretty overwhelmed with work right now, I just kind of self isolate. And to me, sometimes it's just a struggle to answer text messages. And I think that even though that's so small, that's a big step that I sort of like, took some time and forced myself to answer some text messages this week that I had like 98 unread messages. And I wound up going through some of them and answering them, and I think that I'm pretty proud of myself for that, even though it's just a small win, but it was.
Definitely, definitely. Anyone else want to share? Jessica, have you struggled with anything this week and found some way to succeed at it? You don't have to answer if you don't want to.
Um, yeah, mainly, didn't get the news I wanted to for my oldest two kids, but it's just taught me to keep reaching out, getting things, appealing things, filing things, going as far as I can go until I can't go anymore. So hopefully things will be appealed and overturned, and my kids will be home. So just taught me to fight a lot harder, that I'm not stopping. So
Thanks for sharing that, Jessica. Yeah, definitely. Like, it's not always the actual end goal, the success, the experience of success is like following through with all those things that lead along the way. Like you said, filing paperwork, doing the things you need to do. It's perfect. And I saw Andre, you had your hand waving. Did you want to say something?
No, I was clapping for
Oh,
Jessica.
clapping. Right. I
Yeah,
thought it was a wave.
it's
Perfect.
I think it's because it's a light background and the hands are like
Oh, okay.
hard to see.
So we only got a couple more passages here, and we'll get into some questions and then a little bit of open discussion about the day. So I'll go ahead and just read this. When good things happen, I can't believe it. I have experienced so much pain, hurt, and difficulty in my life that I sometimes become unable to accept good things when they happen. This is an honest reaction to a very tough life. I have put in a lot of hard work to make improvements in my life and to be in recovery. Recovery is a constant daily process that we must always put effort toward in order to live a better life, in order to live the better life we want, and to have better days. Today, thankfully, several good things happened. It was unexpected. However, these good things are a testament to all of my effort, hard work, and dedication that I have put toward my recovery and living a better life. Sometimes good things happen, and we need to accept, acknowledge, and celebrate these good things. Why, you ask? Because we are worth it. Awesome. I think that one, relates to mentoring a lot too. So does anyone want to talk about how that relates to mentoring? I can leave that on a screen if you want to look over it again. If nobody did the assignment with the format that they did, I can read this here. It uses elements of the passage itself. I will go ahead and read. So this passage relates to mentoring. This is just one way it could relate. There's probably other ways too. Um, Having faced so much difficulty in life, sometimes it is hard to accept that I have made improvements in my life and recovery. But in some people's eyes, I may be considered a mentor. I have become a good role model by making constant daily progress. This progress is a testament to my efforts and is a basis for advocating my ability to be a mentor for others. When I live my life this way, good things can happen, and I can honor myself by celebrating them. Celebrating good things is something we should remind other people to do more often. Does anyone have
That
anything to say?
resonates with me with when if I get interviewed for a job and they ask me what are um, what are your best top skills and like what are your worst ones, and my answer is celebrating the wins. And you know I don't think it's expected, but that's an honest answer. Is I've done a lot so far in my career and have been able to uh, have a lot of wins in the places that I've gotten to work with. Like drug court, center of excellence, emergency room, director of the drop-in center.
Yeah, I definitely see the tones of authenticity with you. You're a very authentic person, and you said sometimes things don't come easy, so we got to celebrate. We got to celebrate when good things happen.
And if I can give any advice to anyone, seriously celebrate it because you deserve it. You do.
Absolutely. Yep. So, question one. The best part of being in recovery is, who wants to share what they think the best part of being in the recovery is? It's a very personal question. It's good to get your input on it. I don't see any hands, so I can read. Okay, we got Chris. What is the best part of being in recovery? And Chris, we only have about 26 minutes left, so we're kind of really in crunch time
All
now.
the learnings that all the trainings I've taken, everything that I've learned, it's going to open a door for me to take a position where I'm going to be financially very stable, and it's going to enable me to be able to move away from my family, like my mother specifically, and get the toxicity completely out of my life.
Awesome. That was a very, very personal answer. I appreciate you sharing how you feel that the situation is toxic and you need to get out of that. Very good. Thank you for sharing with us. Next question. The most difficult part of being in recovery is what? What is the most difficult part of being in recovery? Andre, go ahead.
Easy answer. Doing the work.
Doing the work. Yep, that is hard. Probably about the only answer.
Admit we're powerless.
Okay. Yeah, that is difficult. Anyone else? All right, we'll move on. When I am upset, the best thing I can do to take care of myself is. Anyone?
Your support team.
Sport, yeah, that's good. All right, I'll read my answer and then we'll move on. I said lay down and close my eyes. If I can't do that, try to enjoy a cup of coffee or some kind of soda. Can't always do either of those either, but it's good to have, things in your mind that you can do to make yourself feel better. All right, so Chris, would you want to read this one? You've participated a lot, but you haven't done a lot of the readings.
Oh, I see how you are. Okay. No,
Gotta
I'm just kidding.
get
Yeah,
our participation points.
course. Um, so my trainer just told me that I'm not getting any participation points because I'm not reading these.
You
Now,
got some. You got some.
the original peer support recovery and coping skills workbook and curriculum. This weekend, I took a step forward in my recovery. I took a positive risk. I was scared and nervous. However, I stood up to my feelings and I succeeded. It is never easy having to take a chance. Recovery is such a precious thing. I know that in order to live a better quality life, I must take some chances. I am talking about taking a positive risk. This is how I move forward. I must give myself the chance to heal, to get better. No one will do it for me. Only I can do it for me. Sometimes we have to invest in our better future, better day by better day by better day.
Awesome. Awesome. I think this is the last passage, so we're almost done here. I'll go ahead and share this, keeping this peer supported by participating myself. How does this passage connect with mentoring? So, in the process of mentoring others, I need to take positive risks that show I have come a long way from the times of my struggles. Sometimes taking risks can be scary or make me nervous. In order to show that recovery is possible, I have to stand up to these feelings. In order to move forward and be a mentor, I must take positive risks. Does anyone have any comments? So, what do you do to move forward after something intense and upsetting happens in your life? What do you do to move forward after something intense and upsetting happens in your life? Maybe think about something recent that happened in your life that was pretty intense. How did you move forward? If we can just get one person to participate. Okay, Andre, great.
I think it's really important to just vocalize it. Sometimes you don't even need anybody to answer. Just being able to vent and then move on is usually really helpful to me.
Awesome. Awesome. Moving on. What is a positive risk that you have taken recently? Jessica, any way we can get you to answer this one? A positive risk that you've taken recently?
I guess appealing my decision with court, concerning my kids, because and going through other agencies to see if they'll overturn uh, their finding, and just trying to, network. Because saying, like me and Chris were talking earlier, y'all are going by what's on paper or what somebody might have said about you. Like, you don't actually know me as a person. If you actually know me as a person, then you'll be like, oh, well, crap, So, yeah, so that's a very positive risk, because 3 years ago or 2 years, I didn't do it. And I don't know if it's because of bad legal advice or what, but I did it this time. So, hey, I'm trying to trying to do what I can. So, yeah, so we'll see what happens.
You'll be all right. You got it, girl.
Yeah. Yeah. See a lot of head nods there, Jessica. So, I think this is the last question, is it? Yeah, great. So we're almost done here. What is one thing you would like to improve about your life and how you live it? Does anyone want to say? Maybe Tammy?
I mean, there's a lot of things. I like what you have to say, like understanding things from a more global perspective. I think for myself, I just I want to be pursuing my purpose, like why I am here, like more, I guess, wholeheartedly. It's not that I'm not, but like I have a lot of responsibilities I'm divided between. So, um, putting more effort into that, I think.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Tammy. So we have to go over what we need to do for the next group. I appreciate everybody participating today. I think we had a really excellent time. The homework is to work on your recovery plan. So we want to create a recovery plan that involves 7 goals and activities that you have every day, and some activities you will need to do every once in a while. In the area for the date, if it is not ongoing, list the date of completion. If it is ongoing, state whether it is something that is done every day or how often it will be done. Please include both daily tasks and those we must do every now and then. There's actually different sections in your recovery plan. In the next year plan, you'll see that there's some for daily, some for every now and then big goals. Those are around page 152 in your book or on the PDF. Start with things that you struggle with rather than things you find easy. Next, create a list of 7 big goals you have or things that are vitally important that you want to or must do within the year. Ensure that this list recovery plan includes how you will support your basic needs like shelter, food, and bills. Make the goal specific and attainable. During day 4, which is not the next session, but the one after that, we will present one goal from each category of the recovery plan. So you don't need to have this done in 2 weeks at the next meeting. You'll need to, you don't have to have the whole 1-year plan filled out by 1 month from now. So that's day 4. This is only day 2, so we got 2 groups till then. You'll just have to share one from each category in that session. So, does everybody understand the objectives? Good. I think everybody understands. So I have some questions that I want to try to ask before we wrap things up here. Try to answer them pretty quickly or briefly if possible. We only have 13 minutes left. We can extend by just a little bit if you want to still have open discussion. But this group ran a little bit longer than I had thought it would. How are you feeling now? So I'd like everybody to answer that, please. You stated how you felt before group. How do you feel now that we've had the group? Andre, you can go first.
So I started off as intrigued, and I think right now I feel pretty self-reflective.
Awesome. That's the intention. Chris, you want to share how you feel now? We didn't get to hear how you felt beforehand, but if you want to tell us, now how you felt before group and now how you feel after group, that would be great. How's your pain? Are you still feeling a lot of pain from your back?
Yeah, my pain is it's pretty bad. But my probation officer literally just showed up and called me and had a conversation while I was laying in bed, and she was outside in the car. So that's just evidence to my clients that being honest with your PO builds that relationship that they actually go off of your word. Before group, how was I feeling? Pretty overwhelmed. My house that I am living in is on the market, and I live down a private lane, and I don't have a for sale sign out for a specific reason, and I've been having lots of people drive down to my driveway, so I put up a chain. And how am I feeling now? I'm feeling good. I gave you the answer you wanted to hear the other day when you asked me about my homework, but I had looked at the questions and I wanted to take an approach of I think I did when I got my CRS, and that was just answering these questions on the fly. And I think that I did more than well. So yeah, that's where I'm at now.
Yeah, I think you did a great job, Chris. You definitely answered the questions. Definitely did a good job answering, very clear answers. Awesome. I'm glad you shared how you felt today. Tammy, would you like to go?
Sure. I think I said I felt excited at the beginning, and now I just kind of feel motivated because I think it was a good meeting, and yeah, I'm excited for things to come and motivated.
Great, great. Jessica, how are you feeling now that the group is almost over?
I'm feeling good, you know, better. I just felt, you know, I told you a little frustrated and upset last week, but with this group, it's actually made me think more positively, and just kept me motivated. So
Thanks for sharing that, Jessica. I know you've been going through some stuff. Glad that this group could help you. So, we have a couple more questions left. For these, you don't have to answer if you don't want to, but you can if you strongly relate to them. So, are any of you struggling with any of the concepts we've discussed today? Self-care, recovery planning, or mentoring?
No, not at all.
Okay. If no one says anything, that means you're not struggling with them, and that's a good thing. So, do any of you feel like you're doing really well with these concepts, self-care, recovery planning, and mentoring? You just
Without a
raise
shadow
a
of a
hand or
doubt.
say something, Chris?
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Without a shadow of a doubt, doing very good. Rolling on all cylinders. That's right. So, anyone else? All right. So, do you feel like you are a mentor to someone? How does that make you feel? Does anyone feel like they're a mentor to someone else right now?
Yeah,
Andre does. How does that make you feel, Andre?
it actually makes me feel pretty good. It makes me feel a little bit more rooted in my um, anxieties and recovery.
Awesome. I think we can all, kind of relate to that. Mentoring does usually make us feel better about ourselves. Takes away from the personal struggles we might be going through too. Does anyone else want to answer that? Give another second or two. All right. Do you feel like there is anything holding you back from being a better mentor? Is anything holding any of us back from being a mentor, or do we feel like we're pretty able to do what we need to do?
Corporate America.
Corporate America, yes, absolutely.
They
I can,
seriously need to start treating us peers with a lot more respect. I mean, with all due respect, we are taking the trainings that we need. We have the lived experience. Um, yeah.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing that, Chris. Yeah, I think, our supervisors and employers and managers could all learn from us people in recovery, that's for sure. And maybe we would survive longer in the apocalypse too.
Yeah, no idea. They could learn a lot from us.
Yeah. So,
So,
are any of you interested in working as a mentor or a peer supporter?
yes.
I see Chris and Tammy are saying yes. I think Andre might have had to step off for a second. And we're just about done. But if any of you need to leave now, we have just a couple minutes left. But if you need to leave, that's totally okay. Just a couple more questions. Um, I know Jessica is about to work as a peer supporter, so kudos to her on her successful completion of the course and training.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does anyone want to share how any of these concepts impact their life? Is there anyone that wants to share maybe just a little thought on how self-care or recovery planning or mentoring is impacting your life?
Self-care has impacted my life in a huge way. I remember being in my first class, CRS class, and my teacher telling me about self-care. And it was a big theme throughout the entire course. And I just, wasn't, is it really that big of a deal? And I learned it was that big of a deal. And I don't think there's a lot of groups run on it, but I don't think they really actually infiltrate and push on it enough where it's implemented, and it needs to be. I've seen way too many people come in and love this job and want to play hero and burn themselves out in a couple of months, and that's not fair, because we have the opportunity to arrange something for those people, like let them have their self-care with a company therapist or whatever, um just so that they're always fresh, they're not used and abused.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that with self-care, it becomes really important. Like once you start supporting other people, maybe beforehand you don't think about it so much, but it becomes really important when you have to hear about some of the struggles other people are facing, when you want to help them so much, it hurts, you know. Um, so did you pick up any good ideas for wellness activities from today's discussion? We all shared some wellness ideas. Did everybody pick up some good ones for themselves? Some new ones that they didn't think of? See Andre shaking his head, yeah. All right. So if you're silent, I'm taking it as you definitely picked up great wellness activities. I see Tammy smiling. She must have picked something up. All right. So, this is the last question, and then you guys can, hang out and talk amongst yourselves for a little while, or you can just leave if you want to. I'm not going to participate because this will be the part of the group that's for you. What most do you look forward to about developing a recovery plan? Does anyone want to share what most they look forward to about developing the recovery plan? And we're all going to do this as part of our group. So, what do you think about that is the most important?
It can be tailor-made.
Tailor made, that's right. You make it yourself.
I think
You're
writing
creative.
down, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say you're creating your recovery, and at the end of the day, when it works and comes to fruition, that you can say that, hey, my idea worked. I set this up, and my supporter helped make it happen.
Perfect. Tammy, what were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think there's a lot of research that backs writing things down, like makes them like more tangible to manifest into your life. So that's the cool part of it.
So are you looking forward to writing your recovery plan? Do you think it'll be really helpful to you?
I think so.
A lot of us already have plans and stuff, but like you said, writing it down can be really helpful. Andre, do you have anything that you look forward to most about your recovery plan?
Yeah, I mean, I'm struggling with the exact word that I'm thinking of, but just being more grounded in my recovery, by like kind of being cognizant of what things will help me stay grounded in that recovery.
Awesome. Awesome. Jessica, do you have any comments on that? You don't have to, but if you want to tell us anything about what you're looking forward to most about the recovery plan. Well, that's all right. So, everybody, if you want to, just chat amongst yourselves, that is great. You all did a great job today. Thanks for sticking it in with us. And I'll leave it to you guys to talk amongst yourselves. If you want to talk about the group at all, that's great. We can leave that in the recording. Your thoughts on the group, just an open discussion, whatever you want to say, get to know each other better. There you go.
I just wanted to say thank you to everybody for sharing and being so vulnerable.
Kind of read my mind. I was just thinking as I was writing my email, this is a very good group that we have here. I've been, like I said, I told y'all, you've heard me, I've been in a million trainings, and like this one is, I like it. Everybody takes everybody's, words, and just takes them in, and there's no trying to have a argument or a war of who's right and wrong. It's nice being in a room with everyone that wants to have just to expand their minds and grow.